Hello, world. So, this is probably one of the most important things that we as humans have to think about in our lives, and that is what happens to us after we die. So, about 18 years ago, my Uncle John died. He had a tough life. His father survived the concentration camps. So the darkness planted horrible seeds that bore a lot of fruit in that side of the family. He was very mean to me when I was a child. He was a short, stocky man. I remember when I was about 4, we were in the back of our house playing in the backyard, and he was squirting me with the hose, and so he got me pretty good. And then he set the hose down and he went to walk towards the house to turn the faucet off. Well, what is a little 4-year-old gonna do? He's gonna grab the hose and spray him back before he can turn the water off. So I got a little bit of water on his pant leg, and he picked me up over his head and slammed me into the ground. Looking back now, I'm surprised it didn't kill me. But little kids your bones are like rubber. So it knocked the wind out of me. I couldn't breathe for a while, and he was telling me to be quiet and quit screaming and crying because he wanted my mom to come out. My mom's the only one that could beat us. No one else in the family. So anyway, I'm just giving you a little background about John and who he was. So in his life, he never really married. His main love in life was gambling, bingo halls, casinos. He never really married. I think he maybe had one girlfriend the entire time I knew him. And there were times I'd go gambling with him and my mom, or we'd play bingo, and so basically it wasn't like a horrible person. But he didn't really do a lot of good things in his life. He was born and went to a Catholic school, so Catholics, they learn about Jesus, and so the reason I'm telling you is because of where he went after he died. So anyway, he developed horrible diabetes. He ate donuts and chocolate milk. That was his dinner a lot of times, and he drank pop syrup when he delivered, fountain drinks and oxygen to carbonation or whatever to restaurants and stuff. So he didn't eat very healthy, and the last 2 years of his life he was on dialysis. The sad thing is the government practically waits for you to die. Your kidneys have to fail when you don't have insurance before they'll help you. So he had a very tough ending of his life. He was very good to my little nephew those last 2 years. I suppose maybe in his way he was trying to make up for how bad he treated me when I was little. So anyway, at the end there, the diabetes got really bad and his legs had filled up with water. I remember one time he wanted to go gambling, and he had to crawl to get on the bus, and they almost didn't let him in. And that night he won $9,000 on a slot machine. And then another time he was in the hospital, and they had to amputate a couple of his toes because of the diabetes, and they turned gangrene or whatever. So anyway, the morning after the surgery, he's telling the nurses, I can't find him, and so he has 2 nurses, and they're looking through his bedding, and they're looking through all of his stuff, and they're like, John, we can't find him either. What are you looking for? And he goes, my 2 toes. And then he kind of laughed. He had a really sick sense of humor. So anyway, shortly after that, he died at a hospital in Colorado. I believe it's called Lutheran Hospital. So he died of heart failure. And so I remember at the funeral, we're at this reception hall where they have a non-denominational speaker, a priest, well, I don't know, minister or whatever. So anyway, they asked if someone would come up and speak for John, and so I of course had to go up because my mom was so upset her brother had died, and so I went up to the podium. There wasn't a lot of people there, and I wasn't gonna lie, say, oh, he was a good person, but what I did say, I wanted to be as truthful as possible. And he says, John had a tough life, and he did have a tough life. I mean, your only joy in life is winning, at a casino or something. That's kind of sad. So anyway, I said he had a tough life, and I said if there's a bingo hall in heaven, that's where you'll find John. And the whole crowd chuckled, the people that were there, and so anyway, like I was saying, that was 18 years ago, and so I can't remember the time period of when I visited him in hell after that. I don't know if it was 6 months. I don't know if it was a year. I'm a cancer survivor, and so I had surgery like 5 years ago, and they don't tell you the side effect of the amnesia medication and the anesthesia is that you'll lose part of your mental capacity. I used to be really fast with numbers, and I had a great memory, and so what I'm telling you is to the best of my memory, so don't hold me to the exactness of everything. I'm giving the best that I can. I feel with the way the world is going that it's time to share what I was given. So anyway, at some period of time, I'll just say maybe a couple months after he had died, I was taken into spirit where he was at. So in this experience, I went to the hospital where he had died. I remember going down below the main level, and there was the autopsy room. So I understood the symbolism of going down. So when you're good and you have Christ and you go to heaven, you're going to move up. You're not going to go down. And I knew this. So when you're in spirit, your subconscious mind is so much more aware than our conscious mind. So, and I knew I wasn't in the body. It's hard to explain, but if you've gone through a spiritual thing, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I went into this morgue room, and right as I entered the room, he was on a stainless steel cart with wheels, and he was naked, and he's always been an overweight man, very husky and overweight. So he was naked, and there was a big hole where his stomach cavity was, and as I'm walking in and I'm noticing all these things, you're having like 5 or 6 different analyzations that's going on. So wherever he was at, it was extremely cold, and it was lonely. It was so lonely, and where he was at is separated from God. You cannot feel God there. It was very depressing. That aspect of this experience depressed me for like 3 days, and it was so lonely. And so as I'm walking in the room, John sat up off of the stainless steel cart, and his eyes were completely black, which was kind of creepy. There was no light, there was no irises, it was just pure black, and I know that the eyes are the gateway to the soul, and so anyway, the first thing I said to John, I said, John, I said, what are you doing here? Why are you not at peace? And he said, this is what I perceive that to be. And then he said, I'm hungry. He said, feed me. And I did not realize that my mom was standing behind me, just outside the door. And so she came in and she had a bowl of cereal, and she's walking over to him, and there's a spoon in the bowl, and as my mom is carrying this bowl of cereal to him, I says, John, there is no sustenance in that here. That's weird. I don't use that words like sustenance. And so he takes a bite, and I look at him and I said, you have no insides. And so like the food fell through like the cavity, that was removed, and he reached up underneath the hole, and he says, I have a heart. And it was really sick. It reminded me, when that was happening, it reminded me of when he was having the nurses look for his missing toes. And so it was kind of like the spirit's way of saying, yeah, this is your uncle. So then anyway, as this is all going on, I'm analyzing it. So it was cold, it was lonely. Time felt like it was running out. So the place that he was at, you don't have forever, and it's weird how your soul can just pick up on all these things. And so then kind of as all this was happening, off to my right, I sensed something really evil coming at me, and it was really fast. It was moving really fast, and it didn't scare me. You know, a lot of times in the our flesh is afraid of things, but the spirit isn't. And so as this darkness was coming really fast towards me, I looked at my uncle and I said, you need to call on God. And when I said that, there was a concussion of power that went through me. And it was like every nuclear bomb in the entire world had gone off. It was the most amazing feeling of power. And so no sooner did I say that, and that concussion of power went through me, and it like the explosion reverberated all of hell. And I was lifted up and taken out of there. And as that power was moving through me, I remember thinking, now that is a power that can speak things into existence. And so as I'm floating up and out of there, I remember thinking, oh man, what did I eat for dinner? This was the weirdest experience. And a voice from above said, if you think this was a dream, ask your mother if she had a dream on the same night. So my birthday is in January, and my mom, my sister, and her boy, they all live together, and they don't have a vehicle. So they asked me to pick them up and take them to their favorite restaurant for my birthday present. So anyway, I believed what had happened. I didn't need proof, but as I'm driving them there, I decided to ask my mom, "Hey, Mom, have you had a dream about Uncle John?" And she got a little disturbed look on her face, and she said, "Yeah, Sunday night," which was the same night I had my experience. She said, "I had a dream. I was at the hospital, and he had just died, and his body was puffing up and turning blue. His skin was turning blue, and she told him, 'Don't resuscitate him.'" So my mom is not really a very religious person. Her idea, from what I've observed most of my life, is I'll give you an example. So when we were little kids, I went to this Catholic school, and on Fridays they would have bingo in the gymnasium, and so my brother and my sister, we'd all sit on these steps going up to this upper level. And my mom would sit at this table, playing the hard cards and then daubing the specials, and I would make little paper airplanes out of the papers and throw them, and they'd hit little ladies in the head and they'd get mad, and so anyway, but we were little kids. I was like 6 years old, and my mom would say, when she got down to like one number, she'd say, "Get over here, kids, get over here." And so we'd have to run down, and we're all standing to the left of my mom, and she's daubing with her right hand, and she's like, "Pray for B3, pray for B3." So me and my sister, my brother, were all like, "Dear Lord, B3, B3, dear Lord, B3, B3." And then they'd call another number, and someone would holler bingo, and my mom would look at us, and she would go, "Bap, bap, bap." And she said, "You weren't praying hard enough." And so it sounds like a joke, but it's really not. So anyway, my mama had told me that about her dream about my uncle, and so I looked at her. I said, "Mom," I said, don't wait till you die to call on God." And she's like, "F you, preacher, F you, preacher." And so anyway, that's kind of how religious my mom is, and I didn't need the proof of her dream, but it confirmed to me, any doubts that I had, and I'm sharing this with you because, whether you're an atheist, no matter what you believe, this is a journey that we are all going to have to take, and I want to give as much insight as I can as to what I've experienced. So, anyway, I don't know what period of time after that, but when I first saw my uncle, that first experience, he was 56 when he died, and he was overweight in the experience I had with him, and so I don't know if it was a couple months or what period of time went past, but I got to see him, and he was wearing a white robe. He was thin, he was young looking, and the most amazing thing is God is so loving, and in what I think, he knows when you die, if there's even a small seed of him inside you. I believe you go to that place and you have that period of time to call on God. Now, it's so much easier to feel God's presence here, on the earth as we're living, than when you go there. And I remember when I was having the experience with him, I thought, well, maybe he can think of the time he won that $9,000 jackpot and he could find some sense of happiness through his memories. But there is no happiness. There's no recalling anything like that. It's lonely, isolated, and freezing area. And so, you know, later on after that had happened, I was flipping through the TV shows, and there was a show about, it was a paranormal show, and this, I didn't catch the beginning, but this team goes out and they investigate like haunted houses and stuff. So they're talking to this teenage boy in front of his house, and I guess his older brother had committed suicide. And so one of the members asked the brother, the younger surviving brother, he said, well, do you have any dreams or anything about your brother? And he said, yeah, I had a dream about my brother. And they're like, well, what happened? And he said, well, I saw my brother, and he said to his brother, he said, are you happy? Or, you know, how are you? And he said no, that he was not happy. He said, why? He said, it's very cold here. So anyway, I thought that was ironic, and later on I found out through some science that cold is the absence of life. So anyway, I have other revelations on hell. That's the first one. That's all I'm going to put in this video. I'll do another one where I was shown other things. But thank you for your time, and have a good day.